Thank you, Santosh, for an opportunity to say a few words about conversational leadership. So the question we would start with is, have you considered the difference between your brain and your mind? David Gertine, Michael Stevens, and many others have reminded us that our mind is immensely larger than our brain. As you know, your brain is in your head, whereas your mind includes the rest of your body, as well as areas outside your body. For example, memories are stored in photos and in documents. And in fact, your memories are stored beyond your body and even stored in other people as well. And it turns out that individuals are relatively poor at making meaning, making sense, making decisions as individuals. We're finding that sense-making, decision-making, meaning-making is often done in groups. So on one hand, you could say that the human race has done somewhat well with decision-making and meaning-making. But on the other hand, you could say we still have major challenges in front of us right now, especially on an international or broader and broader scale these days. Maybe conversation has been overlooked as a technology to work through these massive challenges. I think we often take conversation for granted. What if we all intentionally and purposefully practice our conversational skills to the extent that we might practice, or like we practice other areas of life? An example, Santosh asked me to share an example, so I'll give you sort of a generic or abstract example. There's a TV show out there called The Crown. You might have heard of it. It's a show or a series about Queen Elizabeth in the United Kingdom and all of the royal relationships. One of the episodes in that series shows her husband, Prince Philip, meeting with the US astronauts right after they come back from walking on the moon for the first time in the States or from the States. In that conversation, Prince Philip wants to talk to the astronauts about how amazing that experience was, how deeply impacted they were, what life lessons, big questions Prince Philip is interested in. And the astronauts are coming from a place of they want to know what it's like to live in Buckingham Palace and what it's like to be a royal and those kinds of questions. And unfortunately, the conversation is a miss. They don't really hear each other. They don't find each other. There really isn't a connection or contact between them. And I don't know about you, but I find that many of the conversations I'm a part of are somewhat similar to that. It's almost as if I'm not sure of my intent in the conversation. Others may or may not be sure of their intent. And I'm not sure we're really listening to each other or getting into connection and contact with each other. A word we hear in conversational leadership is it's almost like we have serial monologues. I'm talking at you, you're talking at me, and it's not quite connecting together. And it's just so common. So what we're working on and practicing now is a growth from knowledge management, and we're currently trying not to label things, but at the same time, maybe labels are sometimes helpful. So we're working with something that we're calling conversational leadership. It has elements of knowledge management, elements of organization development, Gestalt psychotherapy, project management, diversity, equity, and inclusion, quite a few different practice areas, liberating structures. All of this sort of comes into conversational leadership. We have designed a framework, a workshop, a website, many different exercises and tools that focus not only on the conversation and how to have the conversation, but also this sort of raised awareness of, isn't it amazing that conversations are taken for granted and so simple and yet have tremendous impact when you look at individual or certainly multiple conversations over time. So it is about the conversation and the impact of the conversation, and sort of even broader than even the conversation itself. So sorry, we don't have time to sort of get into the framework or much more detail during this quick video, but I would point you to conversationalleadership.net. as the main website to take a look at this practice and to help us mature, because it is such a new emerging field, only 4 or 5 years old at this point. And what I might leave you with is an imagination or a wondering of what might it be like if we had highly skilled conversations, and if that might just be the path to coexisting in quite a positive way that we may or may not have experienced yet. So thank you, Santosh. Thank you for your time, and talk to you soon. Take care. See you out there.